there, you're watching Go on Shaw TV, coming to you today from the historic Alberni Pacific train station, where we are not talking about steam trains. Well, hello there. You are watching Go Island, and we have stepped inside the historic Alberni Pacific train station. We're in the exhibit room, kind of at the far end of the train station. I'm here with Emma, who's working with the Alberni Valley Museum this summer. And Emma, you're putting in a brand new exhibit here.
Yes, it's the 50th anniversary of the 1965 tournament. So we have a little basketball exhibit going about that team.
Now, 1965 basketball team, these were national champions. We talk so much about the 1955 team, but 10 years later, this team did pretty good.
Yep, second time in a single decade. It's something significant.
It is very significant. So tell me a little bit about it, because I know you and your co-summer student, Jonathan, put this exhibit together.
Yeah, so we have a few photos of the team and photos of moments from the 64-65 season, a few stories about the tournament, and then some things about basketball in general in Port Alberni and how much of a community spirit that's generated over the years.
Holy cow, has it ever. You know, we go down to the Alberni Athletic Hall every once in a while, do a story down there. Basketball is still big, and I know there's one gentleman, Lefty Williams, who's really trying to, you know, bring basketball back to the heart of the Alberni Valley. I'm guessing that when you put together an exhibit like this, you learn a lot about the community.
Yeah, it's really great to hear all these stories from the past.
Well, it's great to have you retelling them for us all. Make sure you do pop down to the Alberni Pacific train station this summer, take in this exhibit on the 1965 National Championship basketball team from Port Alberni. It's probably going to move to the Alberni Valley Museum at the end of the summer, but we'll have to talk to Kirsten about that to be sure. Now, we're going to be talking to Jonathan in just a few minutes. We're going to be moving into the model train room here at the Alberni Pacific train station, but first, I took a sneak peek at one of Port Alberni's newest urban trails. Now, I call it a sneak peek because there's still work being done down there, but let me tell you, it is absolutely beautiful. And as you all know, the Alberni Valley is host to all sorts of sporting championships and tournaments during the summer, as well as some provincial championships. And Jenny Fortin took in one on our own beautiful Sprout Lake.
Hunter and Jordan. Jordan and Hunter. These guys have a lot in common.
I like being out on the water and being with friends, riding, having fun.
I mean, it's always fun to try new tricks and everything, but it's a lot of fun going to different places for different competitions.
As you can see, these guys are very competitive, and so they should be. Jordan and Hunter are 13-year-old twins, and wakeboarding is their passion.
Everything has been a competition from day one. Who could walk first, who could crawl first. Pretty much everything's a competition between them, but it's all in good fun.
It's competitive, but it ends up well. No fist fights or anything.
I mean, of course I want him to have a good ride and everything, and of course I want to beat him. So it's like a love-hate thing.
And that's brotherly love at its finest. But the Smith twins weren't the only ones competing at this year's wakeboarding provincials at Sprout Lake.
We've got caliber all the way from little groms, young guys killing it, ripping from their first 180s, maybe some flips, all the way up to the pro and open category. They are the future of the sport, and it's really good to see that the caliber riding in the upcoming, grom level is pretty high, and we're, we're excited to be here to coach them, and we got a big development camp after the contest, and we're hoping to teach them a few new tricks and keep the level going and progression.
Sprout Lake Water Sports Association's been around for almost 40 years now. Lots of the kids, you see them grow up. This club has developed a number of world-class wakeboarders, and we work really hard to try and get everybody here. And because it is such a great venue, people that don't traditionally travel to other tournaments make sure that they make this one of their stops of choice on the tour in BC.
In the end, the competition was outstanding. Kids completed tricks they'd never landed before, and the Smith twins began a competition on who was the more modest brother.
Honestly, I think my brother won. He had a better ride than me.
I don't know. See what the judges say.
I mean, I hope I won, of course. but yeah.
For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Jenny Fortin.
Well, we'd sure like to invite you, especially all you crafting children out there. There's still some space left in our Exploring Crafts Day Camp at the Alberni Valley Museum. You're going to be doing a week full of exploring different crafts and different kinds of activities. Make a tie-dye t-shirt, make a piñata, do all kinds of wonderful different things at the museum Monday to Friday from 9 to 12 in the afternoon. You have to register for your children for this program at the museum. You can call 250-720-2523 for more information.
Diggers, earth movers, mighty machines. They're fascinating to watch as they reshape the land, usually in preparation for building construction. But deep in a ravine in the heart of Port Alberni, these machines are doing something different. They're reshaping the landscape for both humankind and nature's use.
Our main goal here were two things. One was building trails for the Port Alberni public and excavating out areas in an old channel for fish habitat in a salmon rearing capacity.
The stream is Rogers Creek, long the focus of Alberni Valley salmon enhancement work, but linked this time to the city through the creation of the Roger Creek Trail System.
Because the city was so interested in doing a project down here with trails and bridges, we decided to join forces. So City of Port Alberni and West Coast Aquatic and the Recreational Fisheries Conservation Partnership Program all came together.
And what they came together to create is a gem within city limits, improving and enhancing a salmon stream while creating a series of trails that join North and Southport together for both cyclists and walkers.
You know, these are urban trails, they're comfortable, safe. When the whole system is in place, like I said, you'll be able to start at the lower end of Rogers Creek Park and work your way along side to side on the ravine and all the way up to the new bridge on Redford.
It's a great way to actually have a circular walk because you can go up this area and go to the other side of town and then come down and come around if you want to do a long walk.
That long walk and shorter ones are already being enjoyed by city residents, much to the bemusement of equipment operators who are still hard at work trying to finish the new side channels and trails by October.
When they come right into our workspace, it's not real fun, but when we see the people coming down and the reactions we get from them, they're all very positive, and I really like that.
We've heard from people with strollers and people with young children that they've accessed this walk and they find it quite easy to use.
And the most frequent visitor, Scott Kenny, who made sure that this project was well begun before his retirement.
He's here every day. He calls me once a day for sure to find out how progress is going with certain things. He comes down on off time. I've come here on the weekends just to check on equipment, like Saturday morning, and I find him down here with a coffee.
So we'll still have to... Well, I don't know him here that often, but it's one of those ones. It's really important for the community. It's not me. It's about this and this project. Once the Bradbury is finished with the main work here, then our crew comes in and details the finishing touches on it. It takes some time, but it's really the work that gives it that high level of finish.
There is clearly finishing to be done, but when it's complete, you'll be able to work your way along a wooded corridor complete with salmon and wildlife, forgetting that you're even in the city, on a groomed path that some users are already calling Kenny Trail.
I think that's fantastic, actually. I think that is a very appropriate name for this area. there's a couple of deer here he's got names for. So when you have people like that are that involved, why not?
Why not indeed? For Go on Shaw TV, standing on Kenny Trail in Port Alberni, I'm Nancy Wilmot. Well, hello again. You are still watching Go Island. We are here in the model train room at the Alberni Pacific Railway Station. And I'm guessing a lot of you weren't even aware there was a model train room here, but there is. And Jonathan Sim, who works with Emma, is kind of manning the station here every week, aren't you? Do you get a lot of visitors here?
Yeah, quite a few, everywhere from children to seniors, and they just love the model train room here.
It is very cool. And the work being done here is all being done by Industrial Heritage Society volunteers, I believe.
Yep, all the volunteers from the Industrial Heritage Center and IHC, they come here once in a while.
And you can tell they're all loggers because there's a lot of logging models here.
Yeah, quite a few of them have been in the logging industry forever since they were young, and so they're quite enthusiastic about it.
Okay, and you showed us one of your favorites. What's your favorite model?
I like the old logging demonstration here, logging scene.
Okay, I know that's a steam donkey, and
Yep.
on the other side, there's a model of this train station.
Yeah, we have our own model of the train station we're in right now.
Cool. So how often are you here?
I'm here Sundays and Wednesdays.
Sundays and Wednesdays. And you get a lot of visitors, not just to the model train room, but to the whole train station?
Yeah, we like to show everybody who comes in here around and show them what we have to offer.
Well, we've had such a gorgeous summer. I got to figure there's been a lot of tourists. Have you had a lot of out-of-province people?
A lot of out-of-province people.
Yeah.
Quite a few from all over the world, England mostly.
Wow.
Yeah, Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
And you do walking tours as well. Are they being well received?
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, every Wednesdays at 11 and 2.
11 at 2. We're shooting this on Wednesday. Who knows? We might tag along on one of those walking tours, bone up on our own history on the Alberni Valley. Jonathan, thank you so much for telling me about it. There is so much going on down here. Until we were down here shooting one day, I wasn't even aware that the model train room existed, so it's pretty neat. Stop by and see it. Now, another place that you might want to stop by during the summer or even all year round is at our farmers markets. We have 2 farmers markets every Saturday morning in Port Alberni, one on Cherry Creek Road at the former Cherry Creek School, and another in Spirit Square right down here at Harbour Quay. Both wonderful places, not just to do a little bit of shopping for produce, but to meet the men and women who produce those vegetables and fruits that you're buying. They're very passionate about what they do. But before that, Melissa Martin is going to catch us up to date on all of the artsy news in the Alberni Valley.
And welcome to another edition of Art Avenue. I'm Melissa Martin. A few things happening at the Roland Art Centre. Our current art exhibit is with Judy Petter, and her title of her show is My View of Nature, Close Up and Away. And she's a watercolorist. She also does fabric dyeing. She's got some beautiful silk, so certainly stop on in to see that. And that show runs until September 19th. The Art Centre, so the Roland Art Centre, has its summer closure coming up, and that happens August 25th and runs until September 8th. So don't come in those times because it won't be open to the public. Cynthia Beneski is holding another watercolor class coming up, and that begins October 13th, and that is an 8-week class. She only does this every Tuesday evening. You can register at ECHO, and that is a beginner's watercolor painting class, and again, that's with our local artist, Cynthia Beneski. And here's what's happening at Shars Landing and Public House. Saturday, August 22nd is Dr. Bones Blues Band. Sunday, August 23rd is Baird Black and White Trio, which is a jazz improv group. Thursday, August 27th is Words on Fire with Stephen Novick, and that begins at 7 p.m. Saturday, August 29th is Don Alder, and Sunday, August 30th is Sean Hogan, and he does roots, country, and folk rock. So if you're interested in any of those concerts, pop by at Shars Landing and pick up your tickets in advance today. Well, that's it for another edition of Art Avenue. And just a reminder to everyone, if you have any information you'd like me to share here on Art Avenue, please contact me at the Roland Art Centre and I'd be happy to share it with everybody. And before I go, just a reminder that Timber Choir is looking for new members. And if you're interested in trying out for Timber, you can contact Pat Venn or Patricia Miller. Their rehearsals begin Monday, September 14th. So if you're interested, please give them a call today. So until next time, I'm Melissa Martin.
fresh local produce, the 100-mile diet, sustainable agriculture. They're more than just catchphrases. They're the narrative of a growing food movement. A movement that is seeking local alternatives to food that is shipped across thousands of miles to reach dinner plates. And it's a movement that the Swan family of Leda Organic Farm, just outside of Port Alberni, couldn't be happier about.
Well, we're pretty big on a whole spectrum of vegetables. We do fruit, orchard, soft fruits and berries, and maple syrup is another big thing that sometimes we have.
The Swans sell their fresh produce right at their farm every Tuesday, but on Saturdays they also sell at a farmer's market.
The point of the farmers' markets, when they first became available to farmers, was that it was a way for farmers to sell the same things that they would as a farm gate sale. Farm gate sales work well. We have people come out here Tuesday, 9 to noon, but it's an extra effort on our customers.
As we start selling at 9 o'clock and 8:45, there will be a lineup of 5 to 15 people, depending on how much stuff we have, and yeah, they like what we produce.
The Swans sell at the Spirit Square Farmers Market, a central location that has been home to a year-round market for 20 years. And the accessibility of this location is a big part of why they're here.
Farmers should be taking their vegetables to a central location in where the bulk of the people can get to it in the community. I think the other thing, we're very conscious about the coupon program for financially challenged people, and they can get to Spirit Square on the bus. We think that's important.
The other thing this family thinks is important is spreading the word, sharing their knowledge of organic farming and sustainability with the folks who stop by, whether they're buying or not.
In a way, they're kind of patrons, not patrons just buying stuff, but supporting a local agriculture, which we think is important.
There's that word again, important, and it pretty much sums up the way the Swans feel about growing food. It's less a business for them than a passion, and having the weekly Spirit Square Market means they can share that passion with an ever-widening audience, something that Gary believes the city made possible 20 years ago when they made the venue available.
I think they made an important contribution to a local food supply, and we recognize that, and that's one of the reasons why we continue to support it.
The Spirit Square Farmers Market is proud to be celebrating 20 years of a continuous year-round market, bringing fresh local food to the community every Saturday morning. In Port Alberni, I'm Nancy Wilmot. Well, hello again. You are still watching Go Island. We are still here in the Alberni Pacific train station, right down on Kingsway Avenue. I'm going to head up to the truck bay while we take a bit of a break, so please stay with us. Well, welcome back. You are still watching Go Island. We are still at the Alberni Pacific train station in the truck bays, another area of the train station that you might not have visited before, because it's not all about the steam train when you're down here at the train station. And Kirsten Smith, there are so many cool artifacts here. Some of them, like this one, I don't even know what it is.
This is a Raymond Patcher. So this came out of a plywood mill. If you can see here, there's little chunks of this sort of shape. These replace the knot holes, and this is the machine that fills them in. So you can, that's their shape in there. Yeah, it's one of the many pieces. They tried to collect a big piece from each of the mills along the waterfront. This is the piece that came from the plywoods.
Raymond Patcher?
It's called a Raymond Patcher.
Raymond Patcher. I never would have known that if I hadn't come in here. No. And this part of the building is chock full of rolling history and pieces of equipment like this that are all part of the Alberni Valley Museum's collection.
It's part of the Industrial Heritage Collection that we have, and it's kept for us by the Industrial Heritage Society, but a lot of the pieces do belong to the museum. This is one of them.
Now, this is so cool that the public has access to this, and whenever Emma and Jonathan are here, I'm guessing this is open?
Yeah, well, it's between the museum and the mill. The train station is open at different times, so the museum is here every Wednesday with walking tours and different parts of the train station available to look at.
And for folks at home, if you want to find out more about the schedule, when you can get into and what's happening every day, there's probably a website?
Alberni Heritage, or for the museum, portalberni.ca.
Excellent. Thank you so much for telling me about it, Kirsten. I got to tell you, Emma and Jonathan have probably the best summer job in the Alberni Valley. Now, we are almost at the end of our show, but before we say goodbye, Alana has a recommendation for a summer read.
Hi, I'm Alana Bodner, and I'm here to tell you about One for the Money, a book by Janet Ivanovich. This book is the first of 21 novels and 4 novellas about Stephanie Plum, a former fashion buyer turned bounty hunter with more luck than skill. I recommend this for any adult looking for a fun-filled mystery and goofy antics about Stephanie and her posse of friends. Janet Ivanovich expertly combines 2 page-turning storylines of mystery and romance that, with a perfect mix of comedy and drama, will make you laugh out loud. You can get a copy of One for the Money at any bookstore, the library, or online.
Colleen Goodrich loves being a grandmother, and when she's playing with her grandchildren, it's hard to tell who's having the most fun. But she hasn't always been able to spend as much time as she wanted with them. In fact, she wasn't allowed to babysit them.
My daughter said, "You can't look after them alone, Mom, because if you go low and you're by yourself, you can't help them and you can't help yourself."
Going low meant that her blood sugar had dropped because Colleen is a type 1 diabetic. She wasn't diagnosed until she was about 39, 6 years after a diabetic pregnancy. And because Colleen is very health conscious and disciplined, she managed her condition very well for a lot of years. But as diabetics know, that management becomes more difficult over time.
After about 10 years, you lose the signs and signals that warn you when your blood sugar is too high or too low. And even when you try really hard and do everything that you know to do, you sometimes just go wonky.
It didn't happen without warning. So unless we were right on top of what she was doing, what the activities had been, remembering what we'd been doing, remembering when there was food intake, you could get caught out.
When her blood sugar dropped, as it began to do unexpectedly, Colleen would become disoriented and confused. She stopped driving except for very short distances and gave up doing many of the things she loved because it just wasn't safe for her to continue doing them. And the final straw was not being allowed to be alone with the grandchildren.
Oh, it's just, I understood it, but I wasn't happy about it. And I thought it was kind of the big push that I needed to make me make the decision. I just thought, I'm going to check on what this is.
What Colleen decided to check into was an islet cell transplant, an experimental procedure being done at the University of Alberta in Edmonton, and one that she seemed to be a perfect candidate for.
They gave me a list of tests to get done, and the results were all good. I'd been a very careful diabetic, but in actual fact, lots of people have had this transplant who were in much worse shape than I am.
In the end, Colleen had 2 transplants of islet cells. These are the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin. And although she's not completely free of diabetes today, the results are still astonishing.
I was fully off insulin for about 3 months. Since then, I've taken 12 units of insulin, but only the slow-acting kind. There's 2 different kinds. The slow-acting just gives you just a base.
When Kirsten, our daughter, kind of gave her the go-ahead to, yes, look after the grandchildren, it's okay now. I mean, that was like the sun was back in the sky.
Babysitting. Babysitting was the great thing, that I could now look after the girls. And I mean, that might seem like a really simple thing, but I never had that before.
Colleen and her family have been able to resume their life, complete with grandchildren, dance lessons, and extended holidays. And although the procedure that Colleen had done was an experimental one at the time, it's now considered standard of care. To find out more and to find out whether you're eligible for it, visit the University of Alberta Clinical Islet Transplant Program website. In Port Alberni, I'm Nancy Wilmot. Well, that does bring us to the end of Go Island for another day. Until we meet again, take in some of our local heritage and be good to each other.